Welcome to the Nevcast, where three bros talk business, art, justice, and the pursuit of Jesus.
Any day above ground is a good day.
Get ready to laugh, cry, and kiss 30 minutes goodbye with Peter Nevland,
Dave Nevland,
and
Rashi.
Hey, here we are on the Nevcast for a fine, chilly edition of the Nevcast. Everybody's wearing warm shirts. Rashi, are you wearing something warm?
I'm wearing a hoodie, man.
You probably wear that in the summer, though, too, don't you?
Wow.
It's cold. It's cold out here. Raining too.
Cold and raining, yeah. Where are you right now? You're driving an 18-wheeler, is that right?
Yeah, I'm driving a steak bed. Yeah, a 40-foot steak bed. And stuff.
Where?
Steak load down here to Sinton, Texas. I ain't never even been down here before.
So you're kind of down in South Texas?
No, Sinton, Texas, wherever the hell it's going. Wherever the hell Sinton, Texas. I'm about 2 hours and 4 minutes away. Yeah, from my drop.
Wow, Sinton, Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is either.
I just know I'm taking 59 to get down here. So
59. Wow. Okay.
Isn't Sinton? Yeah. I've been through Sinton. I thought Sinton was around San Antonio.
No, I don't think Sinton's around San Antonio.
All right.
I don't know. Shit. I see when I get down here. It don't say I'm passing up goddamn. What the hell? Isolib Road? I don't know where the hell I'm at, but I know I'm 2 hours and 4 minutes away.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Good thing we got navigation now.
That's right, navigation. Awesome. Well, so hey, on the on the Nevcast on this episode, we've been talking about this thing of calling. Your calling and what you were made to do. I've been thinking about this a whole lot lately, and I think this comes maybe off and on. But Dave, growing up, did you ever feel like, I have a calling. I know what I'm made for, what I'm made to do, like a purpose,
Well, there were things I wanted to do. There were things I said that would be cool to do. But somehow I didn't think they were really possible or something, or I didn't know how to go about them. And you kind of, step into that direction, a little bit, put your foot in the water. And then I did actually get a whole lot of words from God that kind of made me say to myself, I need to keep going in this direction. I need to keep doing this.
And what were those about specifically?
They were about music. They were about songs and music and things like that.
And worship, yeah.
I mean, and I don't know if they've all really come true, but I keep going that direction, and it's fine for now.
Okay, Rashi, when you were, growing up, did you feel like you had this is what I was made to do. This is my calling. This is the thing that I'm made for in life. Did you ever feel like that?
What's that? Like, what's my calling?
Yeah. Did you ever feel like that growing up? Like when you were a kid or anything like that you were like, man, this is what I was made to do. This is what I'm made for.
Like, you got to give me a specific, like what I'm doing now?
Well, it could be maybe not what you're doing now, but, was there like this kind of like thing where you were like, oh man, I know that this is the occupation, or this is the thing that I'm made to do here on this earth. Like, I feel like I have a calling to do, I don't know, to be a fantastic public speaker, or to be to be an athlete, or to be something else. Like, did you ever feel like that growing up?
I actually wanted to be a doctor, man, when I was younger and stuff, because I like to care for people. I actually wanted to go to school. When my grandma got sick, she was going to actually send me to medical school, but she got senile and sent me to college and sent me to medical school, but I never pursued it. But that's what I always wanted to be when I was younger, was a doctor. That's what
really?
I like that. Yeah, I like to help people and care about people. So that's what I thought. That's what I know my calling was, but I just never pursued it.
Well, it's
You
interesting
know.
because that even though you might not be a doctor now, like that still shows through that you love helping people and you love caring for people. From having a janitorial franchise to now driving trucks. It's just that's your attitude. You're fantastic at serving people.
Right, right,
And
right, right. Yeah, 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 yeah. You got to. But I learned in life, man. I learned it the hard way. But you gotta just care about the ones close to you, man, and the ones your friends, and building rapport with your friends. Like the world, I be sort of like I don't want to give out my love to a lot of people no more. And it's not due that I don't like people. It's just I be guarding myself against evil, man. Because there be a lot of evil people in the world, and I done went through a lot of stuff trying to, have a big heart and show people a lot of love. So it's like, I care about the ones like you, Dave, and all y'all people who close to me. You know what I'm saying?
right,
I don't really try to worry
yeah,
about the world. The people that I got this close to me that I'm already close with. Then if I just met this one cat, this young cat at my job. Good cat, man. Man, I fell in love with the guy, man. He's a good guy. That's a different story right there. But you know, you gotta be careful who you spread your love out to, man. That's just how I feel personally. You
yeah.
know.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting.
Um,
You're already talking about
yep,
kind of people,
yep,
but
yep. Peter,
and I think we'll get there in a little bit. Yes, Dave.
oh, in a little bit, because man, our friend growing up had a saying, and this guy that we knew growing up, he would say lots of things in real black and white. It's this way and it's not that way. And one of the comments that he said related to this, probably he said, the calling of God is never geographical, it's always relational. That's what
It's
he
always
said.
relational. Yeah,
Now, and Rashi just brought that up, and I think that's probably more of the time true. I'm thinking you can find some places in Scripture where the calling of God was relational, but where the calling of God you could say was geographical, but it didn't come without relation. And if it was geographical, it turned into relationship. It
yeah.
turned to being relational. Well,
Well,
you
I
were going to
think
say
that.
something before all that, though, right?
Well, I think obviously, Jeremiah was called to be a prophet, right?
Right?
Samuel called to be a prophet. David anointed
Right?
as king. So there is
Yeah.
a role sometimes that people are called for. I think, right?
Yeah, that's right. But they had it
Moses.
all related to the relationships that they were around.
Well, maybe so, but still, Moses called to deliver, Israel, and I think there is this tendency that we want to do something important, right? To matter, for our lives to matter, to make a difference. That's a big motivation. I know, for me, I felt frustrated. I felt frustrated growing up because I felt like I could do a lot of things, and none of the things that I could do and even maybe none of the relationships that I was in seemed to elevate themselves above any others. It just seemed like I could do a lot of stuff, but I didn't have any real desire to do one thing more than any other. And whenever I started, for me, when I started writing and then started performing that writing, there was this kind of almost breath of fresh air, like, oh, this feels really good. This is amazing. Like I feel like I was made to do this, and and that was the first time for me that I felt like something. I felt like something that I was doing maybe was more exciting than anything else that I was doing. There was
Yeah.
I felt purpose in this, and it quickly became, well, how could I use this to connect to people and to,
Right.
whatever it is, speak to a generation, and draw them close to God, or do something like this, right? And so I started taking steps towards that, and God opened up all these doors for me to actually pursue that and do that. And I left, I had an engineering job, right? I mean, I don't think this is uncommon knowledge, but I had this engineering job at Motorola. I left my engineering job to pursue performing the things that I was writing and speaking to people, and going nuts in front of people around the world, right?
Yeah.
And and there was even like for you were started playing in a band, right? You were leading worship. You come to college, you start kind of leading a movement of people at UT in worship, and even being asked to speak about it a couple times in different places, and right. And there's that sense of, I had that sense that this is kind of what Dave's made for, and I don't know, Rashi, as far as moving towards, being a doctor, I know that there was a lot of stuff that happened in your life with, other things that were not school and doctor related, and you kind of ended up, right, being in connection and learning, about serving people. But I think it was a big shift for me once I got married and once I had a family, right? It was this question. I remember when I got married, this question suddenly of, well, is Vicky going to be excited to be on this journey with me of this calling that I feel like I have? And, that wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily the first thought in her mind. and
Yeah.
and suddenly you have this competition of which one of these is more important, you
Hmm.
know my what
Yeah.
I'm called to do, or the person that I have committed my life to.
Yeah. So, all right, we can. So this. So we can jump into scripture. You could talk about Abraham, who Abraham was called to go somewhere, and it said he
Yeah,
went out not knowing whithersoever he should go.
right,
Right, and he
right.
just kind of followed. And he went to the place, and that is a pretty clear, like, go geographically to this place. But
Yeah,
then the whole thing, I mean, the first time you even hear about Abraham, he's getting a blessing, he's getting the blessing from God, and it's all to do with relationship, right? But he believed this thing that seemed to come out of, according to scripture, it kind of seems like it came out of nowhere, but he believed,
yeah,
and God was like, okay, cool. So he did that thing, but it was all about his relationship. I mean, Moses was in the middle of nowhere, but then he was called to go back to the people that he had relationship with. It wasn't just in, to some random place, right? It turned into
true.
relationship. I would say that I looked for the thing. I looked for, what is God doing? Where's the flash that's happening? Where's the stirring that's going on? What should I join? And it really ended up coming down to relationship. Wait a minute, who knows me and knows where I'm from? And because if I don't see something clearly, well, I got to go back to relationship. I got to be in relationship and connection to the people that knew me, people that know me, and it and things got foundational from there.
Yeah,
It wasn't just, I'm going to do this thing, because that can become an idol even if it's coming from God. But you're saying, there's a time when you're supposed to kind of lay it down too. I mean, Moses. That's what I was thinking about. Moses felt this probably from the time he was very young, that he's different and he's kind of set apart.
yeah,
He's not Egyptian. He knows he's not Egyptian because his mom raised him, right? And
right,
she's
right.
and she's not Egyptian. They're different people, and they have this blessing from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that they know about. But then he tries to kind of do it on his own at first, right? He gets ahead of God,
Yeah,
and he kills the Egyptian, and then he's got to get the heck out of there, uh, and thinks it's over. But God comes out of the middle of nowhere, and he's not. I mean, he's still not far from God, even though he's far from everybody else.
Well, and
and
that's
tell them
kind
to
of
go
similar.
back.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to Abraham's story too, in the sense that he knows
Yeah,
there's this
yeah,
calling, that there's a blessing that's supposed to come through him, but he
right,
needs a son.
right. Needs a
And
son. He
so
tries to do it a
even
couple,
he,
2 or 3 times.
yeah, even he and his wife, cook up a scheme to try to make it happen.
Whew.
And the interesting thing is that God basically says, no, it's Sarah is just as important as you are, Abraham.
Yep, there you go.
And you guys, you're going to do this together, and the only way you're going to do it together is if you stay close to me, because I'm going to do a miracle in you both. I mean, that's really powerful. And the same thing with Moses. I mean, he gets married. He spends a lot of time with sheep, which apparently was very, very good training for
Yeah,
leading a bunch of people who were difficult to lead.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Right?
Moses, David, Amos.
Yeah, all these different guys, being shepherds. And it's just interesting that I think we're in the middle, we're kind of in the middle of our lives. And I think you could look at Abraham and Moses and say, hey, these guys were in the middle of their lives and they still hadn't accomplished anything yet.
That's right. On the outside, it looked like that.
Right. Right. Because I had this conversation. I have this conversation with the Lord, a couple weeks ago, and I was saying to God, like, man, Lord, I really want. I know you've given me a gift with words, with speaking, performing, etc., and I really want to impact this. People like for you, and for your kingdom. And I felt like the Lord spoke really, really clearly, like just pretty instantly, and said, there is nothing that you could do that would be more impacting to people or to my kingdom than being a husband and a father right
Yeah,
now. And the people
yeah,
that I've put in your life to love, your wife and your kids, um, that is the absolute most impacting thing that you could possibly do for all of time right now.
yeah,
There's nothing that
yeah.
you could do more. I mean,
It was
that was
God saying it.
yeah, and it was great confirmation. It's one thing to feel like that's probably true. It's another thing when your soul is stirring and going, "Oh, I need that chance. I want to do that thing again. I'm longing for it again." And God says, "Be patient. Trust me. Yes, I'm in this with you. You are exactly in the right place that I want you to be. Even if it's not comfortable for you." Right? I mean,
Yeah,
you know, Rashi, how do you deal with that? Because I mean, you're talking to the Lord on a regular basis as well, and I know you're not necessarily in the place that you want to be, that you're wanting to get to yet. What does God say to you about what He's doing in you, and the purpose that He has for you, and where you are right now?
Oh man, God just he basically just be telling me to just don't worry about nothing. Like everything gonna be all right. Keep doing what you're doing. So that's what he always tell me all the time. Is that, Rashi, don't worry about nothing. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're gonna be successful in what you're doing. So I don't really be focused on where I'm at. I focus on where I'm going to and
Mm.
where I'm gonna be at. I'm in a lucrative transportation. This is a lucrative trade, man. So I mean, lucrative field to be in. You make a lot of money in this industry. So I just got to keep going and grinding until I get my experience up. I don't really worry about nothing no more because God always reassure me and He always come through on everything. He don't never let me go without
Yeah,
nothing. So I'm always good. So He always come through. Like He don't never ever ever let me. He don't never ever forsake me, man. So I really don't worry about nothing. I just focus on doing what I gotta do and staying connected with it, man.
yeah,
staying connected with
So
Him.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well, and I
cool
think that
how it's cool how the Spirit of God comes through the atmosphere of all the noise that's going on that you hear every day, and reaffirms it to you, or just
Right.
reveals it to you for the first time, but then reinforces it here and there, and keeps you going. Uh, it's an amazing thing. I remember one of the early times when I heard that, Psalm 37:4 jumped out at me big time. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He'll give you the desires of His heart. I'm like, oh,
Right.
cool. Oh, that means you'll give me what I want. Because it's a crazy thing, though, because when you delight yourself in the Lord, what you want changes.
True.
And
Yeah.
it sounds like, oh, there's the pot of gold, but when you start delighting in Him, the pot of gold changes into something that's better than the pot of gold. And
Yeah.
I remember Him saying, "You want what? You want to be in My will? It'd be the best place." I was like, "Yeah, that'd be the best place. It'd be what you want." All right. Well, then delight in Me, and I'm not going to keep you from that. I'm not going to keep you from being in My will. I'm going to keep you going there. So you don't. It takes a lot of worry and a lot of scheming and a lot of striving, and but He drops things into you. I mean, He shows you, gives you a vision of what is to come, what's on the horizon. But you got to hold that with open hands. Keep walking with open hands, because if you close up your fists on those things and start looking at those things, man, it'll run out. You can't hold as much as when you're open with your open hands, walking with your open hands. Um,
Well, all right. So I want to challenge all this happy talk. That sounds all good. That sounds all
yeah,
good. Let's
yeah.
let's say okay. So
What are
for
you gonna do tomorrow?
With you, Dave. No, not tomorrow. I want to go and look back at some of your journey, because you have this obvious gifting to lead worship, to lead people into worship, to lead teams of people that are worshiping and stuff, and you're doing that like you are, kind of leading the college group, and then you're also leading worship for a Saturday night service at church, and that seems to be growing and thriving and doing all this stuff, and then you graduate from college, you get out, and some of the people that you were playing music with and stuff leave, and then you
Yeah,
get married, and then it seemed like, okay, you're married. Well, what are you going to do now? And we sort of did this thing with a band, whatever, all this stuff, but there's this huge calling, I could say, on your life to be leading worship, to be doing, writing songs, and I feel like every time I see your talent, your ability and stuff, I'm like, oh man, this could go much bigger places than it's gone so far. And uh, and so how did you wrestle with that in the times when it seemed like you couldn't really do it and you had to stay home? And you had to
yeah,
watch other
right.
people going out and touring, or watching other people do all this stuff. Like, what were those thoughts that you had in your head? Because, I don't know if everybody else thinks that you're bulletproof and seemingly very secure and everything, but I know that you have insecurities, and that not everything's perfect, all the time for you.
Right. Oh, we just
You
lost
know how to.
Rashi. It looks like, but I mean,
Well, he'll come back.
keeping an open hand. But there's wrestling too. I mean, you can wrestle for the blessing, but you
Well,
gotta.
tell me some of those difficult things that went through your head that were hard.
I mean, well, I like what you're saying. That transition time that you were just explaining. I remember asking a whole lot. Was that it? Was that it? Was that? Are we done? Is that where all that's is that it? Is that's all that this is going? But then here comes my brother, shooting out of the gate, and it's like, oh man, let's serve him. Let's build that up. I mean, this is great. This is exactly the same thing. I don't have to be the guy in the lead. I love what's happening. I love what we're doing. I love what's coming out. I mean, there's life here. So let's join that. Let's pursue that. Let's amplify that. Whatever we can amplify, whatever the life of God we can amplify, let's amplify it.
That's it for the Nevcast this time. Join us next week when we talk justice, business, and art in pursuit of Jesus. We will see you soon.